Now I've decided to do potatoes. We don't have a whole lot of potatoes left. We actually ate quite a few already. But I am going to can up what we have left here, just so I have some for the winter, because I really like putting those in pot roast in a can. You can just dump it in right at the end when the pot roast is pretty much done. You're basically warming up a potato and you've got all your potatoes done. So let's start canning potatoes. First thing we're going to wash them and then peel them. Got all my Yukon Golds done, and now we're on to our Pontiac Reds. Alright, we got all our potatoes cut up here. We're just going to cut them into some smaller diced chunks and put them in the jars. About like that. We got all of our potatoes cut up. We ended up with 4 quarts of our Yukon Golds and 3 quarts of our Pontiac Reds. They're a little bit shy in here. I would normally fill them up a little bit, but I had like 2.5 quarts of our Pontiac Reds, so I just kind of evened them out. Now we're just going to pour water up till we got about 1 inch of headspace here. Just going to top them off. You can add salt if you choose. We do not choose, but that's totally up to you. You can do it, and all it is for just for taste. There's no other point in adding the salt.
Now all we have to do is clean our rims and add our lids. So we just use a little bit of vinegar on paper towel and wash any grime or anything off of that rim and throw the lid on there, and we are ready to go in the canner. Well, we had to scrounge for some wide mouth jars. We really like to use the wide mouth jars when we can our potatoes because it's a lot easier to get them out of a wide mouth jar than a regular mouth jar when you're going to eat them.
All right, we just got our 3 quarts of water going in our canner. Make sure that you have your separator down on the bottom before you start loading your jars in. All right, and then I also add a couple shots of lemon juice to it. It just helps the inside of the canner from getting black. All right, we're gonna load our jars in. And we're going to put our lid on, just like that. Make sure it's all secure and light it up. Once it starts steaming out of the vent for 10 minutes, then we can put our 10-pound weight on. Once it starts jiggling after our weight is on, we need to process these quart jars for 40 minutes. If you're doing pint jars, you can put them on for 35 minutes. We have been venting for 10 minutes, and we're going to put our 10-pound weight on. And now we wait. Once this starts jiggling, then we'll start our timer for our processing for 40 minutes for the quart jars. All right, we've been processing for 40 minutes. All we're going to do is turn our heat off. And we're just going to let this decompress naturally. Once everything's decompressed and our safety button is down, we can take our lid off and remove our jars. All right, we have naturally decompressed. We're gonna pull our weight. And I have some welding gloves on, or grill gloves. These are actually grill gloves. When you do this, you have a tank top on. There's a lot of steam that comes up when you pull this lid. So we just want to pull the lid like that, let that steam go off. Now we're going to pull our jars. All right, there's our potatoes. We're gonna let these guys sit and just chillax for 24 hours. I'm not gonna look at them, not gonna touch them, not gonna shake them, not gonna push on the lids, not gonna do anything with them. Let them sit for a day, we'll come back, and then we can look at them and make sure the lid's sealed, and then we can write on our lids and then put them in our pantry. Those look fantastic. Look at that.